Talk about is openers and range. Range and openers is the actual official title of the class. Something Shion and I came up with a couple years ago. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it.
So you get me. Sorry, guys.
So
range.
you get Arthon, who has got way more experience than Shion does, and more range actually. But
This is a class for all heights.
all heights. We don't discriminate. We don't discriminate. So
I do.
what I like to do, first of all, thanks for coming to SKBC. I know we put a lot of effort into getting here. We put a lot of effort into getting here to show you guys like what's going on. So definitely be interactive, ask a lot of questions. I like to start all my classes with what your name is, where you're from, and what you hope to learn out of this class. Because I have a ton of material, we try to make sure we cover what you specifically want, and then I kind of can go from there. So we'll start over here.
I'm Derek Crownguard. I'm from Northern Illinois, and you told me yesterday that I need to work on my opener game, which is why I'm here. So, what I'm missing?
Okay.
How do you do this to us? There's already enough people here.
What's up, buddy? Go ahead.
I'm Thrash from Crystal Grove, just outside Baltimore. I'm here to maybe not just like kind of increase my repertoire of openers, but also help myself kind of figure out which ones are good for kind of what situations maybe, and kind of hone in on what are good openers and what are less good openers depending on what the situation is.
All right, we'll definitely talk about that.
Name's Koga. I'm from Golden Vale Parks, based out of New York, and I kind of just developed like 3 openers. That's working on all the lower level fighters in my park, so it's kind of become like a crutch, and I'm hoping to learn something new.
Okay.
New openers.
All right.
Devlin from Cleveland, Ohio. Just openers. I always ask everybody what their opener is. I choke a lot. So, figure it
All
out.
right.
I'm Loki from Columbus, Ohio, and I feel like I rely a lot on feints and fakes and stuff, and maybe trying to see if there's anything that I could do better or more proactive with opening or range.
All right.
Falkland, I play out of New York, Golden Vale. My openers are weak. That's probably where I suck the most.
We'll get back to you, but okay.
Ridlin from Maryland. I'm mostly a counterfighter, so learning how to start would help.
We'll get back to that point too, because you're not alone.
My name is Zach. I'm from Golden Vale as well. What I typically do is I don't have like a static set of openers I use. I'm a left-handed fighter. For most people, it's just like I don't even have to throw the feint. I can just straight throw the hip wrap, and all I do is I dive in really hard for it, or I back out and I just wait for them to come in too far and step up and dive. So I'm trying to build my opener game a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm Marcius from CG. I'm looking to find a better way to fight that doesn't involve just constantly grinding.
So we're like more like ranged.
Yeah, keeping. Seems like a fine way to fight to me, honestly, but okay. I like the grind, my friend.
I just want to get better at my range control, so with that, chasing people down a little bit better.
Okay.
I'm Nadia, I'm from Ohio, and I'm a really bad judge of range, and often just don't know how to analyze my opponent to know what to do as an opener, so I just wait for them to hit first, and then I dive, so.
Okay.
My name is Dia, I'm from CG, and started fighting not that long ago, so I'd like to know openers.
D from CG.
So we got 4 people wanting with range and 9 people wanting to work on openers.
That's perfect. So here's the thing, because I heard a couple people say this, like I'm pretty much a counter fighter and my openers are terrible, right? Like those are a couple things. How often do you see 2 amp guarders line up, right? Even higher end fighters, and they line up, and they look at each other, and you can tell that both of them are just trying to get the other one to throw something.
They're playing math.
Yeah, but they're just trying to get the other one to throw anything. Like they don't have an open game. I didn't. I said how often in higher end fighters. I specifically did not say the word instructor. So the thing is that my point is you're not alone in like I'm only a counter fighter and I don't really understand how to open, because I'm telling you there's plenty of people even at the higher end that don't understand how to open. So if you do understand how to open, you're going to derive a significant advantage. But we want to be safe with our openers, and that's the primary thing. I'm kind of a defense-first fighter, have always been that way. So anytime you're going to open, you are obviously by default making a little bit of an opening for someone. So position is very important when you do that, and then what you throw. So the first thing, since we have to know what our range is, that I like to do, and this is a repeat kind of exercise for the people that were in closing and distance. Obviously these things are very married to one another. It's not the same class, but they're married. It's like, find a spot. Just make yourself a line like with your foot.
Do you want to just use the edge of the road?
Oh, use the edge of the road. That's a very good idea. And then what you're going to do is get in your good stance, not a stupid stance, and then understand, like, if I take a step forward with a lunge, you know, how far can I reasonably get? And you can go back and look at the line that you drew that I can't see anymore. And then you're going to have a good gauge on my closing step and my distance, right? So you'll want like a normal lunge forward, and then you'll want a lead foot switch, right? Forward, that's a shot. You want to understand both of those ranges because openers are going to come from either side of that. So go to the road, take your step. Let's see what we're working with as far as range goes.
Do you differentiate between a safe advance or a like kind of reckless one?
I mean, we kind of talked about it already, but
Yeah, but see, I like to do the more reckless stuff. I want to close a lot of distance really fast.
yeah, so show it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
I don't
I mean,
do that.
if I'm going to jump on somebody and I'm ready to go, I mean, I'm taking a leap. So if I'm going to like get them, I'm all the way over here, right? And that's not a really safe. Your body's doing all kinds of crazy stuff that opens yourself up, right? If they're waiting for that leap, or if I'm switching a foot, if I'm going here, I'll take the leap as well, right? And I'm closing a shit ton of distance.
Understand that when you take your feet off the ground, you're taking a bigger risk. That's all you need to know. It's
Oh yeah,
not-
no. I mean, like I said, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of crazy things that can go wrong.
It's reckless, right? But it closes a huge amount of distance. So just understand, like, I'm very fond of my feet being like right on the ground. You'll see if you were in any of my other classes.
Oh my God, when he runs, he shuffles. It's weird.
You'll see, like, you'll see that we talked a lot about dragging your feet, and like I talked about the bottoms of my shoes getting worn out, like right on the toe from this foot drag that we fight inside of a dojo on carpet, or a padding, but it wore out the bottom of my shoes completely through from this foot drag thing because I don't want to do exactly what he was talking about very often. I do it, but you have to understand it's a risk versus reward kind of thing, right? If I'm going to compromise my structure, take this huge leap, there better be a damn good reason why, and I better have some idea of how I'm getting out of it if I screw up. That's the second part of it, right? Like, I can take this huge, like, lunging step forward, but I just know that I'm going to slip back to this, you know, or they're timid enough that they're just going to back far enough up anyway. Sometimes you have to take like a giant closing step to get to someone if they're insistent on backpedaling. We'll kind of talk about how to get them uninsistent on backpedaling, but you know, there are insistent backpedalers in Amp Guard for sure. So if you were in closing and distance and we talked about teaching the Dirty Harry, we didn't get to it. But if you came to this class and closing a distance, then you'll get to learn the Dirty Harry. It's a very good, safe opener. It's why we're going to start with it. And actually, he wasn't going to be here, and since he is, it's awesome to show. So it's just an opener to, if it's a righty versus righty, to this sword side shoulder. So I'll let him show it. We'll gear up.
Yeah.
Let him show what's going on. This is actually perfect because it's safe.
The secret to this is to actually really know your range. This is just going to be thrown at the edge of your range. You're not going to lunge. You're not going to do any kind of crazy extension. You're just going to reach out and touch them. All right? Switch sides. All right? The thing is, almost all amp guarders, when they fight sword and board, and sometimes even Florentine, you know, this is a really safe stance, right? It's covering my shoulder, right? A lot of amp guards tend to drift it so their sword's like straight up in the air. This is a prime opportunity, right? Just be on the, and matter of fact, as soon as they throw a shot and go back, and before they like reset, they come back, they tend to like drift it out here. This is, I mean, I cannot think of an easier target than when, you know, Dalos, here, thanks, around. Go to your regular stance. Yeah. As soon as you drift it out, pop it. I mean, that's it. It seems fucking simple, but there's a number of things you're looking for, right? You're looking for just that slight movement. You keep your eye on it. You constantly keep your eye on it, and you watch when they throw a shot. Do they come back to the ready, or do they come back to this? As soon as they come back to that, you launch into it. You'll hit them in the head a couple times, but you'll still be able to hit here. And this is almost, I mean, it doesn't really matter what your height is, as long as you're fighting within your range. All you have to do is just go straight out, pop. I mean, I can slide it in there. Close it up. That's all you need. Right there. That's all you need. And it's a goddamn kill shot. And now, the beautiful thing is, once you start working that on somebody, they'll start either getting it in tight, or they'll start cheating their shield over, which means the shield side shoulder is open.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is, by the way, this is one of those ones you probably are going to be sword foot forward for.
Yeah, most people are fighting sword foot forward now these days anyway, but you can also...
When did that shift occur?
I don't know, but...
Oh, I know, it's all the dark side of it.
Yeah. The sword side hit meta. But if you watch me fight, I fight almost like this all the time. If you see me fight, no matter what, specifically because of this. Not that many people throw this opener, but it's now habit for me just to keep my sword like right here so that is completely locked off. You know, if I'm messing with him, he'll know because I'll open this up, you know, to kind of bait him into throwing or tease him that he can't hit it, right? But normally I'm like right here and tight to keep that. So, because a lot of people fight like this, right? They have their sword out, they're trying to protect like offense. This is the perfect opportunity for that because they've brought the target forward for you. So if you're right foot forward, you're closer to them, and then now they've brought their target forward and they're trying to project their offense out. And boom, like it makes it even easier. Like I was in a good defensive stance. Yeah.
I mean, I could, without much movement, I'm out of the range right now. That's, I mean, so easy. And it's super quick. If your sword's already in front of you, because you're ready for this, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, the hands on that, it's really just a simple jab forward, right? There's nothing crazy about it.
There's no crazy wrap, anything.
But you should practice it. We'll partner up and practice it a little bit because you saw he hit me in the head. You want to be real careful about, like, I mean, obviously people aren't going to count a headshot, so you want to be careful about not hitting him in the head. So partner up and, like, just try that opener. Plus, it's the first class in the morning. I want to get
Start from a little bit outside of range and just move a little bit in and pop them. And people who are on the defense, leave your sword open a little bit. Don't lock it down, otherwise they will pop in the damn head.
Yeah. So this ties right into the exercise we did about understanding your range. Just get just outside of that and then take your one step that's controlled forward and throw.
When you hit, you shouldn't be hitting with anything besides the last 2 inches of your sword. All right? If you're hitting with more than that, you're too close.
Let's talk a little bit about some movement and some principles now. I wanted to kind of get...
Some people are taking 2 steps.
Yeah, I'm about to get to a lot of that. That specifically. Now, Arthon is over 6 feet, and he's got a 38.
I am 6 foot even, my friend. But I wear boots.
So he's got a 38 in his right hand. It's always a 38 these days. So he's got a lot of range, right? The sword that won the West. So some of us are not 6 foot, and some of us have like 32 and a half. See, it's even on that 32, right? But
why would you cripple yourself?
I don't always use this, but just right now, that's what I have. So you're going to set up a little differently, maybe, where you need to get to that position where he's just to the outside of his max range. But we need to get to that position, and then we need to decide what we're going to do. To me, if I'm going to throw the shot, right, I'm not going to, remember I talked about stance and structure, right? We don't want to compromise our stance, especially to throw this shot, because it's supposed to be just like a nice, safe jab, right? So here, I'm going to have to take a step, right? I can't reach in with this 32, especially to do that. What do you think's important for me to do if I'm just going to step with my left foot? What should happen for me to take a good controlled step to hit him?
I would throw as you're going forward, one just to keep him kind of bound up.
Okay, so throw as you're going forward. How would I go forward, do you think?
You got to move your back foot up.
There we go.
Okay, sorry.
My man. So we slide our back foot. Your back foot is extremely important in this situation, And actually in all situations where you're looking to throw opens, if you're not going to change leads, if you change leads, it's fine. Like I can change leads, like I have that shot, right? Very simple, change leads. Mechanically too, real quick, you generally want your shot to hit like as your foot hits the ground. Well, there's a difference, right? Right? That looks sloppy and bad, terrible right here. Right as my foot hits, my shot's hitting a lot more controlled, you know, and I have like my feet under me. When my arm is at the most kind of vulnerable, I can react better. So, the back foot slide, super important. If I just do this, right, we're compromised. Exactly what we talked about. Now we're in this horrible position, and we have to recover from this, right? Whereas, as you're about to set up, and I like to disguise it with a little bit of lateral, right? If a good fighter sees you go like this, they're gonna know, oh, he's coming at me, I have to be prepared for that, right? But if we're lateraling a little bit, right, we're moving around, I tie my back, see how my back foot comes close now? I can take that step and I'm not compromised. And I also, not only did I slide my back foot up when I step, my back foot slid with me, right? So it slides behind you. So that's the right way to not, go ahead. No. Okay, that's the right way to take that step without messing yourself up, right? Without having it to be like two big steps either. So the controlled just step, slide, right? To get that open.
You were also masking the step a little bit, because every time you were doing it, when you were just explaining each time, you were like moving your sword, like you would swing your sword up here as you were making it.
Yeah, I kind of move my sword around, still keeping that tight, right?
See, but that's not the way that shot works. You just got to get that sword out front so you can just twitch at it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's. I throw it a little different than you're coming to throw it, but yeah, you know, you can get off of that. But I know what you do. And I was throwing it from a left foot forward stance as well. But even from a right foot forward, you still want to kind of slide that back foot up. There you go. But again,
I take a small step forward.
Yeah, a 38 and 6 foot.
Well, his feet are also closer when he starts that too.
Yeah.
Yours are a little bit more wider.
Yeah, in my normal stance. So, it's good practice. Bring that back foot up. You can take your little step and you still have control. Your feet are under you, right? So a couple different ways to look at it. One, if you're taller or have a very long weapon, that's one way. If you have, for some reason, a 32 or 34 even against someone with a 36 or with a lot of range, you're just going to have to be careful. You definitely want to understand and maintain your structure though. That's the important part of trying to get you to get out of that hole. Different ways and different steps to approach it, right? Because you're going to find what's comfortable for you, and that's the big point. Like, you might not throw it exactly like I do, you might not throw it exactly like Harry does, but you'll find that place kind of in the middle. Just the important thing is to make sure my structure is always maintained and I haven't compromised. Because this is a very, very safe opener. If you make it an unsafe opener, it's not as good of a shot automatically, right? Okay, so the next one is kind of an old classic, but a safe opener. You kind of just twitch your sword down and then go over their board. It's like you're going to go for, and you can do this too.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot more work. We tend to just twitch like this, and then you're kind of chambering here so you can pop over the top, right? So it's another shot that we've kind of thrown for a long time. Sword side hip being so commonplace now makes it even better.
Which one do you want to go? Sword?
You can throw. Go ahead.
Oh no, you throwing me. Which way do you want me to stand?
Either way, however you want to stand, right? So we're here, right? And again, I'll use some good movement. I'll slide my foot up a little bit, and I'll twitch that, boom, right over the top, right? And I didn't even have to take that step. I just twitch, and you see that little bit of an opening, and you can throw over the top of it. A nice, safe opener with a feint. And we're going to work a lot.
Talk about the twitch move. This is a concept that some people have thought.
Okay. You're kind of taking your sword and literally just twitching it that way. You're not committing this full thing. You're not really even doing this, although you can do the start of that. You know, again, kind of do it with some movement, right? Because you want to get in the right spacing for it anyway. So, sorry, a fight starts out here, right? This is where a fight should actually start. I'm completely out of his range. Obviously, we're out of my range.
Unless you're Carlos and you can start inside.
Yes, well, you said that just because Ben's here. So, you know, we've tapped swords And the polite thing to do is to step back a little bit and give someone a spot. I guess we'll cover this real quick since Harry brought it up. The unpolite thing to do is tap swords and suddenly step in. Now, like you've kind of taken away some of the advantage of someone who wants to fight with range. You're not really fighting a true fight. What you're doing is you're saying we're starting from inside. That should be a drill that you've agreed to do. We're going to both start from inside, and we'll just play in the grind the whole time, right? You should have to earn that space, especially if you're the shorter fighter. So be polite when you're fighting people. But yeah, that's so. Again, we're kind of disguising it with motion, right? We're moving, we're taking some lateral movement, and then see how we're kind of closing it off slowly. We're not like stepping into him where he feels threatened and he'll just back up the entire. Remember we were talking about backpedalers, right? And how to handle backpedalers.
It's almost like a quarter step. Each time you go lateral.
Yeah, exactly. But if I'm just coming at him and he's a committed backpedaler, right? How the hell am I ever going to get in the range of that?
Oh my God, I feel alien.
There are no torch committed backpedalers, to my knowledge. Maybe he'll come forward. But yeah, so, and he's lefty, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So we're tightening up, we're tightening up. And right when we get to our range, you know, we feel it. Now, we've kind of been moving our shoulder, but we twitch. Right when we only need this, right? We don't need.
See, I didn't even move my shoulder a lot, just that much.
Yeah, you don't need this, and if you're looking for this, more than likely you're not going to get it. So twitch right over the top, pop, pop, and we're getting to it. And people fall for that constantly. They shouldn't. It's been a shot for as long as I've played, I think. Maybe not quite as long as I've played, but almost 30 years. It's been a shot. Yeah, that's how long this has been commonly thrown. But they still fall for it, and the fear of sword side hip
makes it even worse.
But the important, I mean, remember, I'm showing you shots here and stuff because it helps you understand the principles. And you came to get some openers, right? But the principles are as important as the shot, right? Using our lateral movement to close off distance, finding our right range. Those are very key things. Your openers are going to vary depending, but like, I want you to have some stuff to use and to practice, but the concepts are the most important. Like, we move our feet, we find the right spot. If we're going to advance, we slide our back foot up, or we decide that we're going to change our lead foot, and we never compromise our structure, right? Those are the things. On that note, since we haven't talked about it yet, before we start talking about the actual throw of the shot, chin up, always. We're not boxers, right? We're not MMA fighters. You know how they always talk about chin down? That's because they don't want to get knocked out, right? What happens when our chins go down? What do you think happens? Your shoulders get open, right? How often do you think that you put your chin down when you're fighting? A lot. I've never thought about that. A ton of people put their chin down when they fight all the time. And it happens in the course, right? If I'm fighting him and I'm not being conscious of what I do and I go to throw, look, that's a natural kind of advancing step, right? But my chin has come down and my shoulders have come forward and my structure is completely compromised. Alternatively, if I can keep my chin up, right? We'll talk about shoulders thrown back in a second. If I can just keep my chin up, right, I do that same thing, it's not nearly as bad. See, the positioning is good. My shield's better. I mean, he can still maybe get me. The last piece, shoulders back, right? Shoulders back, chin up. My wife says it's fighting arrogantly. She's literally told me, you look very egotistical when you fight, like you shouldn't look like that. But I used to think that was hilarious, and I still do. But I thought about why does she think that? And it's this reason exactly, because I've decided, and trust me, it's important, that to keep the structure up, the chin has to be up, the shoulders have to be thrown back. You kind of look like an alpha dog, right? And you want to look like that anyway when you're on a field. You want people thinking, uh-oh, right? Because if I come at you like this, you know, are you really that scared? You kind of, Isaac calls it looking like prey, right? You just look like, and especially if you're like this, right? You look like you're waiting to get killed. Whereas if you come out like this, you look like, oh, this is someone that knows what they're doing. They think they own this field. There you go, right? So shoulders back, shoulders thrown back, chin up, right? And then as you advance, you go into something. See, everything's nice and tight. He's done what we want. The shield twitched. Now we just come out a little bit with our elbow, slides out a little over the top. I can't stay in here and throw. It's not going to work, right? Even if I try to do that now, look what's happened. It's a bad situation, right? But if I slide my elbow out just a little, I can get over the top of that.
Can you guys switch so you can see what your arm looks like on
Oh
the
yeah,
too?
for sure. Again, we maintain good structure. We use our movement, head, shoulders, chin, twitch, outside, boom. Coming over like top.
But I mean, really, look, all I'm doing is showing just a top edge of my shoulder, and he's able to get over.
Okay.
There's a 6-inch difference in height between us. I mean, and he's still able to do it. So this is not limited by height or anything like that.
Okay, so you want me to go this way? Another view. We're gonna get another view so everyone can see, and I guess the camera can see. So we're here again, shoulders, back, chin, right? Here, we're just waiting to find the right space. You see I'm closing out distance a little bit. Twitch, outside with the elbow, over the top. And you're gonna hit like right there. Sometimes they'll think their board is there. Don't get too upset about that. I mean, they are cheating, but they think their board is there, right? So,
Yeah, a lot of people, especially with boards that hook like that, they feel the impact on the top, on the shoulder, and think it's the board hitting them.
yeah, so you can mention that to them. Hey, you know, I think I'm like, just be aware of where your shield is, because you're moving it, and I think I'm hitting your shoulder and your shield. But understand that this is going to happen with this shot, you know. But we are talking about, again, a safe opener. And, you know, just don't get super pissed off at them. Kind of explain it to them that that's what's going on, because the anger is not going to help anyone, right? It's just puts bad karma out there on the field. So do you guys understand enough to kind of practice the shot?
Throw the shot in slow motion in space.
In space in slow motion, without even using movement. We're twitching in with our hand. This elbow has to come out, and then you're coming out and kind of around. Pop, pop.
So the twitch, by the way, it's a jerky movement. It's just that way. You just do that. And you see how his whole body tenses up when he does it? I mean, the body fake also helps to sell it. So it's that. It's your whole body kind of twitches, and then you do your other thing.
Over the top. Pop.
Now with that, you're not drifting your hand out, you're actually just drifting the elbow.
Your elbow, yeah, because if your whole hand comes out, then, again, your elbow's out for like a split second while you throw. You're not going to leave it out there, but if you drift your whole arm out, well, one, you can get the first shot that we just showed throwing at you, right? Like that can happen.
As you should.
Yeah. And two, you're just opening up targets to get hit on the way in your setup, right? So it's a real quick kind of thing. We obviously showing it slow, but it's fast.
By rotating your elbow, you're maintaining your defense where it was, instead of pulling it out, like you said, opening it.
All right, questions? Partner up again. Let's throw down, practice a little bit.
How do you want him to do it?
I mean, they could practice the various ways of doing it, right?
Nope.
How are you? Yeah. This is not something we see. This is not something we see a lot of in Texas, and not this gentleman. We don't see a lot of him in Texas.
He's one of a kind.
But this shield, right? Because the question was asked, you know, what do you do about a shield like this? And
I just admire it. It's awesome.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You hit him in the threat side hip.
Well, I smile a lot about a shield like this because they think that shoulder's safe, right? And it is to some extent. Like, he doesn't have to move. He'll probably move a little bit for this motion, right? But he doesn't have to move that much. But you're gonna have to change what you're doing a little bit, right? What we're gonna do, we still get our good setup. You know, maintain our posture. We'll throw our twitch. Now, he doesn't have to do anything. He didn't bite it. We're gonna step outside of his shield now. Come around the outside. Because they think their shoulder's safe, and they don't worry about that much. We hit them anyway, we just step around their board. So we use our movement, boom, our setup, twitch, step, outside.
So instead of throwing over where the point would be on the shield, you're throwing.
We're gonna have to throw around. We're gonna have to make a slight adjustment.
You're finding
for
the new
shield.
closest route.
Now, the follow-up question was asked, but what if they just take a step backwards, right? And block. Rotate. And we're getting a little off topic, but you know, the shield is not maybe something that people here struggle fighting against. I'm getting that sense. So if that's the case, again, come here, do your twitch, do your step, right now.
So it's
Right, it's bye-bye. Like, okay, you're really selling out on protecting your shoulder. I can just come back to the other side and hit that. Note, I didn't go all crazy with how I'm going to get there, right? I didn't go dark side. I didn't go money. I went with the tight. I went with the tight, boom, into the sword side hip, right? My hand rotates, and I pop inside there, right? It's just a pop, 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 boom. Just a flat backhand. That's it. Nothing crazy. None of this. None of this. Like, you don't need to do any of that. Just boom. That's the motion. Literally, that's the motion. Nothing crazy, right? All right, any other questions about that? I wanted to answer that question since I got asked. And y'all deal with that kind of shit a lot more up here than we do down south. So it's interesting.
A couple of the no quarter guys have them.
It's interesting. It's interesting as a shield for sure. All right. Again,
The hip scoop.
what's important here, really? Do you think? What do you think is important that we're learning? You know, what's the important parts of this?
Seems like you're practicing footwork more than anything.
Right. What did I say? What did you ask for? I want to safe openers, right? And again, we're using our footwork to open up from safe ranges and throw safe shots, right? That's the important part. We're not selling out for this big opener because, you know, we sold out. All our chips are in the middle. If it gets blocked or sloughed, we're done. You know, we've sold out, and we're going to end up walking to the back of the line and waiting our turn next time, or go to Nirvana, you know, whatever, and we've lost, essentially. So this is the important part. I'm very big on footwork, if you haven't figured that out yet. So that's the important part of this, right? All right. No more questions on that. Next, let's talk a little bit. Where'd my board go? Oh, over there. Let's talk a little bit about. Did you put my board upside down on the wet table?
Eat a bag of dicks.
Pull back.
Why
Bag
would you
made out
do
of
that to
dicks.
Yoda? All right, so next, if we want to maintain distance, like we've been kind of, we still want to open, but we want to open from distance. We've kind of talked about us initiating, but taking steps forward. Even committed backpedalers can be dissuaded of the notion that they want to backpedal, right? How do you think that happens? How do we talk someone into that backs up a lot into coming forward? Do you think?
Take a step back.
You take a step back. Yes, but right. If I tap with him and I just go like this, then we literally just look at each other and then we kind of step back in and he gets back to backpedaling again, right? Because he wants to be in whatever range he wants to be in. So you have to kind of bait them into wanting to come forward, right? And so how you do that is again, we're kind of using our lateral movement. He's kind of backing up. We're tightening up a little bit. You might juke in like that, and then now I'll slide backwards as we're getting into a closer range, right? Or I'll throw something at him, and then I'll slide backwards. And eventually they'll start coming forward. As I move backwards, it invites them to come forward. Even very committed backpedalers can be, it's foreign to him because he doesn't backpedal that much. So even very committed backpedalers can be invited to come forward by just inside of range, then starting to back up, right? If you just like start backing up, they'll look at you and they might come forward a touch, but not to where you want them to come forward to, right? You want them to come forward to a spot where you can throw a good safe open. So, you know, if every time you come forward and just get to the tip of your range, they back up a little bit. Come forward and just get to the tip of your range. Come forward and just get to the tip of your range, and then you back up. Like before they get a chance to really back up. Just kind of slide and back up, slide and back up. See if you can get them to come forward a little bit. Some people will never ever come forward, and that's okay too. Then we have to kind of
Big steps.
yeah, we might have to take a little bit of a bigger step, but we're going to throw a rocker at them, right? What we're going to do is catch them on their back foot. Heavy, right? If they're backpedaling, especially if they're doing it like this, heavy, heavy, heavy. See what I'm talking about?
No, explain it hard. What do you mean when you say heavy?
Yeah, we're getting to it. I'm seeing if someone sees it first, right?
You're putting your weight in the back foot.
Right, the weight gets on the back foot. This is very typical thing for MMA fighters, boxers, martial artists to look for is when someone's weight is compromising on their back foot. Remember I talked about how we're sliding all the time? So that period of time is very brief, right? Well, a lot of times, especially jump back fighters, if they just jump back, if you come in at all, right? I'm very heavy on my back foot and now I'm stuck. My cleat's even dug in a little bit right now, right? That's when you want to get your open because they can't, right? I can't go backwards again from here until I reestablish my weight on my front foot, right? So there's a period of time where you have to get them. So in that same course of closing off distance, maintaining good distance, you know, hit them with this jab step thing, get them to do their back or even just their step back, and then throw any of these openers we talked about, you know, Dirty Harry or Twitch Fake Over, right? Either one of them is fine, but you have to get
with a step forward. Though.
Yeah, with that step forward because they've backpedaled and now they're jammed in here. They're stuck for a minute, so you just have to watch for that timing, that period.
So
of time.
that motion would be rocker,
yes,
and then the step forward, or then the transition.
Right, as they're in the air, right? As they're in the air, you can't wait for them to land because then they have enough time to reestablish their weight. So it's pop, and they go while they're in the air with that motion. Boom, look for your shot. You know, boom, right? Rock, slide, pop. Like while they're in the air, all kind of the one good piece of timing. That's a timing thing. People might say that's an advanced concept. It really isn't advanced. It's just a matter of understanding and watching what people are doing, looking for that weight to get heavy. You can tell when people's weight gets heavy. You just have to watch for it, right?
Anytime after 2 o'clock today, my weight's gonna be fucking heavy on the skate, but really.
Yeah. Any questions so far about that? All right. Sword side hip. Everything we've done so far has been high, right? Sword side hip as an open, right? You're gonna have to really fake kind of to the board side a little bit. I mean, again, I tend to not want people to get into this position, right? It's
Jesus, that sounds awful.
It's compromised, right? Even if it looks kind of cool, it's very compromised. That huge level switch, it's kind of the thing right now, and a lot of people are doing it, but it's compromised. It really, really is. So as long as you know how to block it, you're going to screw them with that. So to get a nice, good sword side hip is a safe opener. Remember, we talked about safe openers. You can open with the big money if you want, and that's fine if you want. Alternatively, you come in here. Remember, we used this twitch motion. We came out here. Well, we're going to kind of throw this double twitch motion now, right? We're going to come in here, and maybe we've been throwing this already, right? And they're worried about that board because we've been hitting them with this twitch and come over.
From out of range, maybe.
And so we start, we twitch, then we come up. Now, he's like, oh, I'm protecting against that. Well, now we have a chance to go to a shield sword side hip, right? And we bring our hand down like I talked about, and boom, come right on the inside. Pop, punch down along our board, or with our sword, if we're Florentine, kind of come down low. We dip a little bit, but not a crazy amount, and come right into the inside of that, right? And our foot steps in and kind of past them, or towards being past them, and you can go sword side hip with your open, right?
So you're tick-tocking with the double twitch.
Yeah.
And then you're doing your footwork at the same time you're throwing your shot.
Yeah,
Can you
straight.
do it like at speed or like a decent speed, not slow motion?
Yeah.
I don't know how I can get faked out.
Oh.
Come on, Harry, you know how to bite fake.
You can. So we come here. Again, we're using our good movement, right? Here. All right.
That first twitch gets you moving this way. The second twitch gets you over exaggerating back the other way.
Right. So we've essentially we're patterning someone into a condition, and exactly what he said. If you bite into a first fake and someone throws a second one, and you realize you've been into the first one, and especially if we've been hitting over here, right? We're kind of building a little bit of an opening game. Then their reaction is, oh shit, I want to bring my sword up, my shield up even higher because I know they're going for that shoulder, and this time I'm going to make sure my board is high enough to catch it. So now you've caught them. Pop. It's right there. So open, like easy money, but not the money shot. Easy money to kill them.
Are you going to show the mechanics of that hip shot?
I mean, it's the same as we talked about before, right? It's this. Like, think about pulling a lawnmower or a chainsaw, right? You're kind of, right? You're not, it's not with your wrist. Like, this crazy wrist thing, especially with our timing, right? If it's this shot, that's a shot in motion all the way through, right? This, not, right? And I come here, it's not a shot until I do this, right? So if they hit my arm in this process, and then I have to do this to hit them, well, we've committed a different shot. So that would not be in motion. Like if I come to here and I'm throwing at him, and then he hits my arm right here, and then I go like this, the wrist break here is what the shot was, right? I'm just telling you a timing thing because it's very important. And this is one of the reasons why I throw it this way, because I'll sacrifice arm for hip on occasion for this exact reason. But if you throw it here, and it's just straight across like that, I'm not breaking my wrist. I'm literally just rotating my hips and pulling it back and looking back into that good defensive position we talked about. Even against the Dirty Harry, right, my sword goes back. Like it doesn't come back to where he can hit me with that opener, right? So, you know, I'm exaggerating a little bit so you can see because it's really, right? It doesn't come as big as I made it, but that's the shot. That's the mechanics of that sword side hip that's nice and tight. And people don't really expect a nice and tight sword side hip. They expect like big money, right? Or they expect dark side, right? And so when you start throwing it really nice and tight like that, it throws them off as far as their timing and their spacing goes.
So again, it's dropping down in front of the shield. You're not doing anything behind.
Right, you're punching down along the shield and then popping back.
And it's a straight line.
Yeah, right. And your feet
might curve up.
See how my feet slide? Well, it comes back up when you're done.
You're doing a little footwork.
Yeah. So we're exactly getting to that, where my feet kind of slide off of that at the end of the shot. Pop, pop, and I come back over here. Right foot leads left foot slides in this situation. If your left foot lead, if your right foot lead, you're here. Right foot leads, left foot slides. Basically,
I don't know. You should throw that right foot forward.
People throw it right forward all the time.
Or sword foot forward.
People throw it right forward all the time.
Really?
I don't like it as much, but yeah, I mean, people do things. I just show both feet in case they prefer right foot forward. Questions about that? All right, let's throw down some practice on that. Again, mostly the principles, right? Getting the spacing down, getting the movement down. I'm giving you options for openers, and then we're going to talk about another piece. I taught it in closing and distance, but I want to talk about it again because it's a good kind of let's bring this all together game piece, right?
You said right foot forward, dragging your left, right?
If right foot's forward, yeah.
No.
If left foot's forward, yeah, right foot leads, right?
Yeah.
And then your left tracks. Yeah. That's my preferred way of throwing. Okay? Feels natural to you and I because we're mostly left foot forward fighters, except when you're just jabbing people. Yeah, pick a partner again. Let's practice that a little bit. I think this mechanics of the sword side hip is going to be important for you to get. I gotta get out of this.
Help me break it down. That's helping.
That's right.
Well, it's the first time facing some of them. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
I mean, just throw straight moves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Big ass shield in the way.
Down, up, down, across.
All right.
Right? I'm going to have to drill the fuck out of that one before it becomes natural. But
You put Yoda down.
So yeah, but it's not wet on that table. So we had like some very awesome questions, and I want to thank you guys for being interactive. That's super important to me because it's boring just to come up here and like talk all of the time. Even though some people think I like to hear myself talk, it's not really true.
Oh my God, the lightning.
All right, so you guys need to really get comfortable with your range. And by that I mean where you should actually open with this shot, right? You're still too far away really to throw the opener, and that's why you're struggling to hit. A lot of times it's because you're outside of the range where you should be opening. So I know we did that drill where we understand where our steps are, right? You need to really get comfortable with your range. Okay, Dalos, I want to get comfortable with range. How do I do that? Tell a little bit. You know, it's going to take a little bit of pelling for you to understand, especially with new shots. Where can I really hit with this shot? Where am I in a good position where I can go ahead and get this shot comfortably, right? When you're fighting someone, your toes tell the tale, their toes tell the tale, right? I know where my front foot is, right? I don't have to look at it. I know where it is. You know where your front foot is, you don't have to look at it, right? When I'm fighting him, I can look him in the eye and see his front foot. You should be able to do that too. So I'll do this. Oh, there's his front foot in relation to my front foot. Like, Okay, now I know the range. No. In the midst of it, you get that feel. And when you see that toe in relation to your toe, which you know where that is, right? Then you know you're in range. Right here, and with the 32, this is not a good spot for me to open. See, I have to understand that with the 36, I'm probably okay actually. But with the 32, okay now. See his toe where my toe is. If he didn't change the situation, or even if he's moving with me a little bit, go ahead, move a little bit, right? Even if he's backing up a little bit, I'm going to close the distance a little bit more than he's willing to back up, and then, oh, now I'm good, right? And actually, I'm even a little closer than I need to be. I can be right here. So, but how much of a difference was that? Not much, right? But you need to understand that. Like, that 3 inches is everything about this. When you're talking about how can I throw safe openers, 3 inches makes all the difference. Really does. Okay? The fake on this shot. We don't need to overdo the fake. We don't need to overemphasize it. It's a twitch fake, right? We don't need to throw like crazy, you know, you don't really need to use this on newer people per se, because
They stare at you.
yeah, they're not going to react. And you know, maybe you're doing these big overemphasis for newer people. This is a fighter who knows what they're doing, right? Twitch, twitch, and then we can come down along our board and use a circular motion back out, pop, back out to full guard, twitch, twitch, and then we take our step, right? Full guard, right? Cool. Now, these guys had an interesting observation and a question about, well, I really felt more comfortable moving left, and the 5 minutes, okay, cool. The whole point of this range and openers is we wanted to throw safe openers, right? We want to use proper footwork. Well, even if they block the shot, what are you hoping to gain? An advantageous position, right? An opener's just that. It might not be the final killing blow, and that's fine. It's just an open to the fight. But if I come here, twitch, twitch, he blocks, and I open, and I'm here, what have I really gained? I've closed some distance, but he and I are still in a pretty neutral position, right? No one really has a clear advantage in this spot, right? Given, just say skill level's the same and all that, we both know how to fight inside, whatever, no one's gained a good advantage, right? But if I come here, twitch, twitch, he blocks, and I come over here, now who has an advantage, right? I'm already moving here, he's behind me, I have a good opportunity to come here, my board is hard in between his board, I can see his ass is mine at this point if I wanted to hit him with an ass wrap, right? Like, I've done something that gains me an advantage. So, that's the point to all these openers. You're gonna get an advantage out of your movement, out of your open. Might not get the kill right away, might. If you do, golden, you know, smile at someone and say have a nice day, go on about your business. But if you don't, you've gained a positional advantage with your movement.
So I know you guys are sword and board, but it's not fair up over here. This isn't necessarily just a sword and board shot. You can do the exact same thing Florentine. Keep your defense and use this as your shield. So, can you come in and do the exact same thing? This isn't something that you guys are required to do just with the sword and board. You can do it with anything. It's really, as long as you have a weapon over here, you can have a down stick, you can do whatever, you can still pull it off.
Yeah.
So don't think of it in terms of like this is solely something you can do with a board.
It's absolutely not. We talked to the Florentiners a little bit about it, and you know, the obvious question is why don't I just kill with my left hand? Well, everyone expects that. They expect for you to kill with that left hand, especially a boardman, so they're very cognizant of it. Whereas if you use your right hand and break the rules and cross, they don't expect that, right?
Also, if I throw the same shot in the same location with my left, my defense is over here, completely totally exposed on my left side. So I throw here and I miss, and he gets me. I can do the same thing though. My defense is still right here.
Cool. Yeah. We're out of time, so any questions before we break?
Thanks, Dalos.
Yeah, I think we gave you what you wanted, safe openers, like with the proper movement. You're going to have to pel.
Oh, I did have one question about that.
Go ahead.
When you say pelling, you mean that like you should be taking that initial step too from time to time, right?
Yeah, sorry, when I mean pelling, I mean every piece of the shot. Like if you're going to pel that double fake.
Down, up, down, cross.
Everything. Like even move a little bit first, you know? Move yourself into your position against your pel. Throw. All right, I'm back to, my shot is complete. I'm back to full defense. Reset. Back to the pel. Start all the way over again. That's how you really gain an advantage from pelling, not just 500 flat wraps, you know, 2 million
If you don't know how
chops.
to do a flat wrap, that's actually pretty important to do.
So, all right, any other questions? Thanks for coming, man. I super appreciate it. I hope you guys got what you wanted out of it.
Thank you.